The prairie that afternoon was an ocean of golden dust where the sun hung low like a tired lantern, its light stretching thin across miles of grass that whispered secrets to the wind. In the middle of that vast, lonesome stretch sat a wagon whose wheel lay cracked like a broken promise. Beside it, a woman knelt in the dirt, her calico skirt stained with travel and tears. Her name was Clara Mayfield, and she had been on the trail for 12 long days, 12 days of sunburned miles, of rattling wheels and prayers whispered into the endless wind. She had left Missouri with nothing but a small trunk of clothes, a Bible, and the fading hope that somewhere beyond the plains there waited a life that could heal what grief had hollowed out inside her. But now, with the wagon useless and the mule dead of thirst that morning, it felt as if the West itself had turned its back on her. She pressed her palms against her face and let the tears come, softer and trembling. The air smelled of dry earth and the faint sweetness of sage. Each gust of wind carried the sound of grass bending and the distant, mournful cry of a hawk. Her throat ached from crying and the heat, and when she finally lowered her hands, the world seemed to shimmer with exhaustion. For a while she only stared at the horizon, unable to decide whether to walk toward the faint blue smear of mountains or simply wait for night and whatever mercy it might bring. Then, through the haze, came a sound so small she almost thought she imagined it, the low, rhythmic thud of hooves. She turned, shading her eyes, and saw him, a lone rider cresting the ridge, the sun behind him painting his outline in fire. The sight filled her with equal parts fear and relief. Out here, a stranger could be salvation or ruin. She rose to her feet anyway, because standing was all the dignity she had left. The rider slowed as he approached, dust swirling around his horse's legs. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with a coat the color of old leather and a hat pulled low against the glare. When he dismounted, his boots struck the ground with the soft, measured weight. "You look like you've had a rough stretch, ma'am," he said, his voice slow and even, carrying that drawl born from miles of open country. "Your wagon's seen better days." Clara tried to speak, but her throat tightened. "Wheel gave out yesterday," she managed. "Then the mule this morning. I've been trying to fix it." But as she gestured helplessly toward the splintered wood, the man crouched, running a calloused hand along the brake. "Ain't much use mending that without iron or fresh timber. Closest town's Silver Creek, and that's near 15 miles southwest." He looked up at her then, eyes the gray of storm clouds. "Too far to walk." "Not before nightfall." She swallowed hard. "I reckon I didn't have a plan past this point anyway." He gave a half-smile, the kind that didn't show teeth but spoke of quiet kindness. "Well, it's a good thing I have got room on my saddle." He straightened, brushing the dust from his gloves. "Name's Cole Dawson. Folks call me Dusty Cole on account of I ride more than I sleep." Clara hesitated. "You don't even know me." He tipped his hat. "Don't have to. Out here, helping ain't a matter of it's a matter of decency." For a heartbeat the whine filled the silence between them. Then she nodded. "All right then, Mr. Dawson, I'd be grateful for the ride." He led his horse closer, a chestnut mare with the white blaze and eyes that glimmered gentle. He lifted Clara by the waist as if she weighed no more than a sack of flour, setting her on the saddle. The touch of his hand startled her, a steady, warm, certain. When he swung up behind her, the world felt smaller, safer, like the sky itself had drawn nearer. "Hold on tight," he said softly, and she obeyed. They rode west, the dying sun at their backs, hooves beating a rhythm older than memory. The land rolled out before them, a patchwork of grass and rock that shimmered under the haze of heat. For a long while neither spoke. The creak of leather, the rush of wind, the scent of sage and sweat, those were the only words the plains needed. At last Cole said, "You headed for Silver Creek looking for work?" "Yes," she replied. "I heard they need help at the boarding house." "I can cook, so, tend a garden, I can do most anything that keeps me fed." He nodded. "Silver Creek's a fair place. Got its share of rough hands, but the mayor keeps order. You might find more than work there if you're lucky." She smiled faintly. "Luck and I ain't been properly introduced for a long time." He chuckled. "Then maybe it's time you met." They rode until twilight spread its purple shawl over the sky. When the first stars appeared, Cole guided the horse toward a small rise where a few cottonwoods clung to life beside a creek. He dismounted and helped Clara down. The air had cooled, carrying the scent of water and wild mint. Cole unpacked a blanket, a canteen, and a small bundle of jerky and biscuits. "Not much of a supper," he said, handing her the food, "but it'll do till we reach town." Clara accepted it gratefully. They ate in silence for a while, listening to the murmuring water. Fireflies blinked along the banks like tiny lanterns. The peace of it seeped slowly into her bones. "Where are you from, Mr. Dawson?" she asked at last. He tossed a pebble into the creek. "Nowhere special. Born on a ranch outside Abilene. Left young. Been riding ever since. Drifting mostly. No family." He shook his head. "None left. This horse here's the closest thing I got to kin." Something in his tone, a quiet, steady, touched with sadness, made her heart ache. "I lost my husband 2 years ago," she said softly. "Fever took him in the spring. We had a small farm back east, but after he was gone, the land went to ruin. I sold what I could and headed west." Cole looked at her then, his gaze gentle. "You got grit, Miss Mayfield. Takes a lot to start over out here. Sometimes I wonder if it's strength or just stubborn foolishness." He smiled. "Out here, they're the same thing." The fire they built was small but warm, the flames licking at the night. Above them the stars spilled brighter than she had ever seen, stretching from one end of the world to the other. Clara watched them until her eyes stung, and then she glanced at Cole. He sat cross-legged, hat tipped back, whittling a stick with the calm patience of a man who had learned not to hurry anything that mattered. There was something about his presence, steady, unspoken, that made the loneliness inside her ease. When she finally lay down, he offered her his blanket and took the ground beside the fire. She tried to protest, but he shook his head. "A cowboy sleeps where he falls." "You rest easy, ma'am. I'll keep watch." She hesitated, then whispered, "Thank you, Cole." He nodded once, eyes still on the darkness beyond the firelight. "Ain't no need for thanks. World's hard enough without folks looking out for each other." And for the first time in months, Clara drifted into sleep feeling safe. The wind whispered through the cottonwoods like a lullaby. Somewhere out in the prairie, a coyote howled lonely, far away, but the sound no longer frightened her. She dreamed of nothing at all, only the steady rhythm of hoofbeats carrying her towards something she didn't yet dare to name.